Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Selfish Woman. I'm so excited for you guys to meet my guest today. We have the Vivian Kaye in the house. Vivian Kaye is the founder and CEO of Kinky Curly Yaki, a premium textured hair extension brand for Black women that she bootstrapped to over 6 million in revenue as an immigrant, college dropout, and single mom. As a self-proclaimed Gary V meets Oprah remix, Vivian is also a business and empowerment expert, as well as a TV, radio, and podcast personality. And Vivian empowers, uplifts, and educates her audience into taking action. Welcome, Vivian.
Yay, thank you.
I'm super excited you're here. I've been dying to talk to you. I've been following you for a while now on Insta, on the Instagram.
Thank you.
And I remember, I feel like the first time I found you was like during the pandemic, and you were two things that I loved. You were watering your plants. I brought my plant for you today.
Oh, hey, plant.
This is my snake
plant. Yeah.
They're the easiest, one of the easiest to keep alive, I heard.
I killed them. I killed all mine. Yeah. I don't even ask.
But I was like, wow, this woman and her plants, I'm now obsessed. And then also like you know, being with your son who was home and doing
school.
online school, that was like, I felt like you were saying everything every other mom was thinking.
That this sucks. Yes, that's absolutely what I was saying out loud. Yes.
I was like, you keep it real. I love that. I mean, my kids are all grown now, so I didn't have that issue, but I couldn't imagine like not only the pandemic, but then the homeschooling, but then like trying to run a business from home.
Yeah, it was a spectacular disaster. I hated it. Like I absolutely hated it.
Yeah. And I love that you're willing to just say that. Like, not like, oh, you know, it's got its challenges, but we're fine.
It sucked. I hated it. It was stupid.
Yeah. And then Petty Viv.
Hashtag Petty Viv. Oh, when I get petty, it's over. It's over.
Yeah. I love that too. I was saying to a friend a while ago, I was telling her, like, Petty Viv, like, we need to be more petty. What are we petty about?
I don't know if we need to be more petty, but we certainly need to express our displeasure at things that we normally wouldn't express our displeasure at, right? Because we're taught, especially as women, to be polite and to be nice and to, you know, not tell people how you really feel. But I think we could use a little bit more petty in not in a negative form, but in a more, I'm setting boundaries and I expect you to respect those boundaries.
Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't hurt to be a little, you know, how come you didn't invite me there? Petty every once in a while.
But no, I agree. And I, you know, I call myself a recovering people pleaser. And a lot of my audience can relate to that. And I love what you're saying, because I think if you've been conditioned as a woman, which most of us have been, to be the nice girl and to be polite and all of that, then when you start setting boundaries and becoming assertive, it feels like you're being a bitch. It feels like you're being mean, but really you're actually just being assertive.
But, you know, when men are assertive, they're, you know, that's great. But when we're bitches. But it's
exactly.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Well, whatever
I'm
that's about.
Then.
It's not it. Yeah. And I think seeing women modeling being assertive, being willing to speak your mind, being willing to acknowledge that, like, hey, this is sucks, or this is hard, or I don't like that. Like you said, it's like we need to see more women being willing to actually step into their power in that way.
Right. Well, and you know, there's also a fine line between, you know, expressing how you feel and being a Karen, right? Like there's a very fine line there. You know, it's one thing to be upset because something doesn't go your way or the way you think it should. And then there's you know, you're actually like, no, I'm correcting something because this isn't the way it should go, because, well, I know it sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but there's a difference. Well, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to articulate it, but there is a very fine difference.
I think it's the energy. A lot of it is energy. Don't you think?
Yes, as opposed, I think it's more like, okay, instead of calling people out, you're calling people in, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, there's one thing to be like, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then there's like, okay, listen, I really don't appreciate the way you treated or you spoke to me in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
In future, I would very much appreciate if you changed your tone, right? And even the way you say that is very, it can, if you say it, there's just a fine way to say it, right? There's the way I've
Absolutely.
just said it is just like, okay, she's saying something that I should listen to, and she's expressing how she feels, and it's in a very matter of fact manner. But if you're
Yeah.
raising your voice and putting your hands in people's faces, no, that's not how you're going to fix the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a fine line.
Absolutely. And the way you just said it, and I love it because I feel like that's an example that listeners can take and actually use.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way you said it, right? It's like kind,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
caring and compassionate, but it's also like, yeah, just the facts. Like, this
Yep.
is just
Just
the
the
way it
facts.
is. Just the
Not no
facts, ma'am.
emotion, just hey, listen,
Yeah.
I would really appreciate, and especially when you say appreciate, then it's like,
Mm.
oh, okay. Like they're telling me to do it, but it's a non-negotiable
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as
Yeah,
opposed to I'm giving you
exactly.
a choice. No, there's no choice. I would appreciate if you would stop doing that.
As opposed to like, you can't do that to me. And no, no, no. Right. That's the Karen energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
I had an
that the
example. I had an example of that last weekend. I was at a resort and there was a dog. The people next to me left their dog in the room and it was barking
oh,
like for like an hour, like lots.
well, yeah, because that's
I
what a
was,
dog at a resort is going to do.
and I was like, okay. So I went down to the desk and was waiting to talk to the manager, but she was talking to a Karen who was like doing the whole like, this isn't okay. And we have to do this. And for quite some time. And then she came over to me and I kind of just said, there's this dog and I need this taken care of. And she was so thankful that I didn't tear her head off. But I
Because
got
it's
a
not
lot.
it's not her fault.
No. And I got a lot of things comped because of the way I approached it
Right.
too.
You
People
catch more
respond better.
flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Oh, exactly. It's true. So, how did you grow into? I'm assuming you had to grow into this place of being assertive and knowing your boundaries. So, like, what was your evolution to come to that place?
Well, it took a lot of bullshit, It took a lot of bullshit and a lot of nights or, tears and like, why am I putting up with stuff? Like, why, like,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I pleasing? Why am I living for other people? Why am I bending over backwards trying to make other people happy when I'm not happy and they could care less if I'm happy?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's all about, and that's the thing. I think we tend to give people more credit than they really should be, than they really
Mm-hmm.
should be given, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we think, oh well, I shouldn't be doing this because so and so will think this. So and so is not thinking about you. So and
Mm-hmm.
so does not care. They are thinking about themselves,
Exactly.
right? And the reason why they're telling you whatever they're telling you, say for example, someone tells you that you shouldn't start that business. They're telling you that because they have a fear that they're just trying to put on you.
Right.
So then why are you living for their fear? Like, why are
Mm-hmm.
you not starting a business because they said they were scared? Let them go
Mm.
be scared.
I love it.
Let them be scared. I'm not saying starting a business isn't a scary thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you should decide for yourself whether that is, but you're not going to know until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just sort of stopped living for other people and said, you know what? I'm just going to live for myself. If someone doesn't like it, then they can go kick rocks with flip flops. It's none of my business. None of my
So
business.
did you just kind of get to the point where you're like, I'm not tolerating the bullshit anymore?
I've always not been a tolerator of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because my sisters and my family sort of think that I have a I don't care attitude, and it's like, it's not that I don't care. It's just I'm not putting my energy into something that is not necessary for me to put my energy into.
Right. Right.
And so I've always been very laid back, I guess, for lack of a better term, right? But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's just like, that's none of my business. So I'm not going to, people are like, when people who really like, all the underlying symptoms of anxiety and depression and all that type of stuff. Not only is it, chemical or whatever the case may be, but it's also you worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
And it's worry, and it's worrying over things you can't control. It's like, well, I can't control that. So why
Right.
should I be, why I know, and listen, I've been there, I've been depressed, I've done the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's almost like I try to talk myself out of it, because it's like, Vivian, you have no control over that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, yes, I still do get into my feelings, but then I remind myself, okay, you're in your feelings today, Vivian. Tomorrow, wake up. It's another day.
Yeah.
You can't control that. So there's no point in being upset over something you can't control. What can I control? I can control how I feel,
Yeah.
or at least try and direct how I should feel, right? And if you, like I said, if you want to be down in the dumps for a day, a week, whatever the case may be, sure, fine, that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. But you still got to pick yourself up and put your big girl panties on and continue on,
Yeah.
because no one else gives a rat's ass but
Yeah.
you.
No one's coming to save us.
No one's coming to save you. So you might as well save
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely. And so for you starting your business, how much of that factored in at the beginning of like having to put your big girl panties on and rally and get back to what's needing to be done to really build this business for yourself?
Um, I've always been sort of like, I always say, people, when I was younger, and especially through high school, young adulthood, they always tried to put me inside of a box, right? You need to fit inside this box in order for you to function in society. And I was like, I don't like that box. I feel like I'm a
Mm-hmm.
parallelogram or a rhombus or some other shape. It's a shape, but you don't know what
Yeah.
that shape looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. And sometimes the drum is loud, sometimes it's soft, but I've always sort of marched to it. But now I forget what the original question was.
Story of my life.
Just keeping it
Well,
real. I
do
went
I
off on a
remember?
tangent and wasn't sure where that tangent was going.
Oh, putting your big girl panties on when it gets
Uh-huh.
hard. And how
Uh-huh.
long did we stay in that wallowing place?
Oh, well, I still wallow. I was
Yeah.
wallowing last week, and then I got dressed up for a wedding and was into myself, and now I'm back
Mm-hmm.
into wallowing. So I have my ups and downs, I have
Sure.
my ups and downs and arounds, but and that's the thing. I think once I hit 40, I was just like, I don't care. Like yourself better. You understand there's ups and downs, and you just sort of, I'm like, okay, well, I could spend my life miserable and trying to please people and doing all that, or I could really make myself fucking happy. I could really do that. And so what does that take? Okay, so there's the things that you have to do. Like, you have to look at your kid. Okay, you had a kid, now you gotta look at him. All right, cool. But how can I make this good for me? Right? Like, how can I
Yeah.
make this fun? Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to sort of, you just one of my big sayings is, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So when I started every single business that I started, it was like, why not? Like, just give it a go. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that could happen? So my
Mm-hmm.
thing is, blah, 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 blah. One of my current sayings is, what's the best that can happen?
Love that.
Right? Just what's the best thing that can happen? So why not do it? Show me
I
how good
love
it
it
can get. Just do
because
it.
it
Let's
gives
go
your
for it.
brain a different question to try to think about
Yes, it
instead
does.
of what's the worst that could happen or oh no, what about this? What about that? It's like, yeah, what if it works out?
Yeah. Because our brain's always on survival mode, because it thinks that we're still, cave people trying to,
Mm-hmm.
find our next meal and save ourselves from the lions, when really it's like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, you're trying to save yourself from embarrassment. Nobody has ever died of embarrassment, right?
True.
No
I
one.
do believe that's true. Yeah.
No one
We're
has ever
not
died of
at
embarrassment.
starting a business isn't like it's scary,
It is.
like you said. But there's so many other things that it is as well.
Yeah.
And I also love that you talk about empower, like you called yourself a business and empowerment expert.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, I love that. And when you talk about empowerment too, it's like we need each other. We need
Yes.
other people in our life to tell us that, to remind us that like it's not about everybody else. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Do you?
Nobody. Do you? Literally.
Yeah. So how long ago did you start your kinky curly yaki?
So December will be 10 years.
Oh wow.
10 years. Yeah, it's been a long, an interesting journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you said that you've grown it organically, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew it into a multi-million dollar, like I hit my first million without a single paid ad.
Wow.
And grew it into a multi-million dollar business. And it's been an interesting journey.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. I'll tell you
No.
that. It's
No.
not for everyone. One day you're like, yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm on top of the world. And the next day you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Exactly.
I should
You're
just get a 9 to 5 or a sugar daddy, like one of the two.
either. I think sugar daddy.
Or
I think they
both.
both sound like a
Why
lot of
not?
work.
Get both.
They both sound hard, so
Hey, well, you know what? If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it
right?
properly.
Go big. No, I agree. It's not for everyone, and that's why I'm always so impressed when I see, that women who have really grown these businesses organically, and also something that obviously met a need that you saw that you couldn't find for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then just created a solution.
Yeah, that's those are the best businesses to start. You see a gap in the market, there you have a solution for it, and you niche it and you go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about you is your audacity.
Yeah. Lots of it. I keep it in my cleavage.
Because so many women I talk to are living in fear, like we've been talking about, living in fear, scared to take action because of the what ifs,
Mm.
not really believing that they've got what it takes. And you're so into just do the shit
Mm-hmm.
and figure it out. And like, have you always been this way? And you've said this before, but I'm just like, I don't meet many women who are just like, yeah, this is just like the way I've always been.
Well, no, I mean, it took a minute. It took a minute because, as you know, with us women, we're raised to not take risks. We're raised to stay on the safe side of things. Like, even as we're raising children, Johnny could be climbing a tree and it's like, hey, Johnny, you go, Johnny. Oh,
Mm.
boys being boys. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
girls do that. It's like, no, Sarah, you can't do that. You need to get down from there because there's consequences to your
Mm-hmm.
actions. Whereas we don't
Mm-hmm.
teach boys that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it's part of the reason why we're in the mess that the world is in, because these boys are all making these really stupid decisions and not getting input from the other,
Yep.
population, the other side of the population, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that I came up with is because like I said, I do have my moments. So one of the things that I came up with is, what would Chad do?
I love Chad.
Right? Yes, everyone loves Chad. And if you don't know who Chad is not a specific person. Chad is not meant to to make men feel bad, or it's not sexist. It's nothing like that. What Chad is an energy, it's a mood, it's an attitude, it's a mindset. Because what would Chad do is meant to help you to eliminate those negative, those self-limiting thoughts that pop into
Mm-hmm.
your head that, oh, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that, or
Mm-hmm.
not me. But Chad can be anything to you, but to me, he's the mediocre white guy doing all the things he has no business doing. And we all know that guy.
We
You either went
all
to
know a
school with him,
Chad.
he's in your family, you work with him. He's just that guy that if there's a job application that you need 5 qualifications and he has none of them, he's applying anyways. He's the former president of the United States. He's the current prime minister of Canada. He's just a guy doing all the things he has no business doing, but he does it because he has the audacity,
Exactly.
right? And so for us women, we have the expertise, we have the experience, we know what we're doing, we just don't have the audacity to match up with it. So whenever
Yes.
I start to feel any sort of doubt or any something in my brain that's like, no, you can't do it, I think, what would Chad do? What would Chad, and you know what he would do? He would totally do it. I mean, I'm not saying go out and be a scammer or fraud or be a jerk about it. No, just take the audacity,
Mm-hmm.
and it will help you to do the big things that you, not even just the big things, even the little things. Just say, what would Chad do? And think, okay, well, some mediocre guy would be doing it. So why can't I do it? I actually know what the hell I'm doing.
I love it so much because it's so fucking true. And women, we, like you said, we're raised to be more like careful and cautious and aware.
Well, they need us to. Otherwise, this world.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we were just as reckless?
Right? I don't know. I can't even. And so we see this all the time. Men, like you said, men just putting themselves out there, like, I don't know, see, I'll ask the hot girl out, or I'll go for that job, or whatever, and not really cluing in that, like, oh, but what about this and what about that? They don't really Chads don't second guess.
Nope, they just go for it.
Just go for it.
Yep.
And so if women did that, women, you're listening.
Oh man, not man, oh man, but hey, girl, woman, person. If we even just put 50% of the audacity, if we just sprinkle a little bit of audacity on the things that we do, oh boy, the things we will do. Yeah,
the things we
well,
will
look
do.
at the things we've done. Look at all the things we've done, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just a matter of, again, sprinkling the audacity on everything.
Sprinkle that shit everywhere.
Yep. Sprinkle that shit on everything.
It's so true. Like, imagine what we can do. And women are we're definitely moving into that realm of being more audacious. And we've got a long ways to go. But when, women like you can step up and be like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm audacious. This is what I'm doing. This is who I am. It gives other women permission to actually imagine what that would look like for them. Like, what if I actually sprinkled audacity into this situation?
Yeah, exactly. I always like to say I'm not necessarily a role model, but I'd like to say I'm a possibility model. So I like to show what's possible, right? So is it easy? Absolutely not. It's not easy at all, but it is possible.
Yeah. Well, and you're a single mom, right? How old's your son now?
He's 8.
Oh, so is he back to school yet?
No, not yet. In a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So what's that like, being a single mom, being an entrepreneur, doing all this shit? Like, that requires a lot of audacity, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm tired. That's for sure. I'm tired. I am so tired. I have to say that being an independent woman is a scam.
It's a con.
It's a con.
Who said this was great?
I don't know who said this was great, but they're lying. No, I mean, in all seriousness, it's not that it's been a terrible life. It's been a great life. I don't have any regrets. I would do it all over again if I could. But it's certainly tough. It's not easy.
Bless you.
It's certainly not easy. But it's something that, again, I wouldn't trade for the world. Like, I'd do it all again. And I think it's also made me more audacious, being a single mom, being an entrepreneur, being a Black woman, being all these things just has made me who I am today. So yeah,
for sure. Regrets. Well, and that's it, right? Like, I've raised 3 and I was married, but I often felt like a single mom because the dad was like traveled a lot and kind of been, not really there. But now mine are all like out. They're out. They're done. I'm done.
Right.
But I just remember how tired I was all the time.
Yep.
And I wasn't building a business. I was momming.
Yeah, that's a business. That's Kids Inc., right?
Business of raising humans.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. They take a lot of energy. Like, it's actually funny because sometimes I find when I need to clean something in my house, I can't do it while my child is in the house. Like, I can't do it properly because I know I'll get interrupted.
Right.
And then I'll forget what I was doing, and then I'll end up doing something else. And But once he's out of the house, oh my goodness, watch out. So much stuff gets done.
So much happening.
Or not. But I'm committed to whatever it is I'm doing because I'm not being interrupted. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Uninterrupted time as a mom is like the golden hours. Yeah. No, I love that.
That's for sure.
For sure. So what's next for you in this fabulous life of yours? What are you looking forwards to? What's going on?
I'm looking forward to doing more traveling and more living for myself. So now that my
Mm-hmm.
kid is 8, he's a little bit more independent. So I'm not as worried when I want to go away because
Mm-hmm.
he can speak for himself, and he's easier to take care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the past year, yeah, in this past year I've been to my homeland, which is Ghana, West Africa, twice.
Mm.
And it's every single time I come back, I'm like, I understand why snowbirds do what they do now. Like, I get it. And so I want to become a snowbird.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
become a 40-something-year-old snowbird.
totally.
So
Because you
so
live in
that's what I'm looking
Toronto,
for.
right?
Yes,
So
yes.
in the middle of winter, if anyone listening does not know,
It's
it's rough.
terrible. It's like I question, why did we come here again? Oh,
Yeah.
right, opportunity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that.
So yeah, so I have the privilege of being able to go back and forth. And so I plan to do more of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
living that
Yeah.
soft life, as I call it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
soft life.
Yeah, more a life of ease and of less tension and less, just more relaxed. Not necessarily relaxing. I'm not saying I want to just be sitting on the couch eating bonbons, but I want to maybe lie on a chaise lounge and eat some
Under an umbrella and
under an
on the
umbrella
beach.
on the beach with bonbons, maybe. But yeah,
I'm all about that. I'm all about like, how can we be easier on ourselves? How can we
yeah,
be gentler on ourselves? How can we be a little more relaxed and
hmm,
give ourselves, because like we're talking to, with the selfish woman, it's all about like when we give to ourselves, we can better give to others. And
yep,
so as a mom, especially, it's like so easy to just be like, mom mode, do mode, pa pa pa
yep,
pa.
yep,
And then all of a sudden the kids grow up and you're like, wow, I really didn't do much for myself in those
yeah,
years. So
yep,
yeah, traveling, the slower life, being
hmm.
easier, more gentle. Does that help you? Does that feel like you're better able to then have energy for your son?
Yes, it makes me nicer.
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
makes me nicer. It makes me just nicer all around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more relaxed, right? And it just gives you a better appreciation for your situation, or even relationships, that sort of thing. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just been, I feel like for the past decade, I've just been doing the hustle, and
Right.
now I'm over it. I'm over the hustle. Like, I just want to just live, like, just live a more easy, not easy, but a more supported life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I like easy.
Yeah, but easy is relative too, right? So it's
Right.
like, and I don't want easy because I think easy would be boring. Eventually will become
Yeah.
boring, right? And
Yeah.
so if anything, I just want to live a life of ease, which is just
Mm.
okay. Like, say for instance, I finally, after how many, times, I finally bit the bullet and just hired someone to clean my house. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm tired. And it's funny because I'm always telling my son, he's always whenever I ask him to do something, he's like, I do everything around here. Okay, no, you don't. First of all. But then one of the things that sometimes that really gets me down is like, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
And so then I finally just said, you know what? I'm tired. Let me just hire someone to clean my house.
Yeah.
And of course, at first I was like, okay, well, of course, no one's going to clean it the way I would clean it. But then I had to remind myself, it's done. I don't
It's
have to do
done.
it.
It's done. Done is better than
Right?
perfect.
Done is better
That's
than
what I always
perfect.
say.
And,
Plus, like,
so
that's something that Chad would do.
yeah, exactly. He would just
Chad would,
let other people do it. So I'm starting to let other people do it. Like, just
yeah.
let other people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else can do the things that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. Okay. So we've already talked about being selfish and you're going to be like traveling more. What's something you're feeling petty about these days?
What am I feeling petty about these days?
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling petty. I'm feeling petty about relationships. People's relationships. I'm always, and or just about, like, just being a single woman.
Uh-huh.
And just being petty about what's out there. And I tell my married friends, I'm like, girl, if he's not beating you or taking your money, just stay there. Trust me, because there's pee and poo and vomit in this pool, and it's just so like, oh.
I hear
Like,
you,
if you
girl.
don't like, listen, if he's your is he treating, does he treat you well? Like, does he not fart in your face? Okay, then stay there,
Then just stay.
because
Stay.
it's, I mean, listen, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? But yeah, but that's what I'm really being petty about, is the what's out there. Like, this ocean is dirty.
I tell you, I'm
Where are these
single
fish?
too.
The fish have three eyes. And
Yeah, I'm single too, and the Vancouver dating scene is like,
yeah, like, just
mm.
okay. Like, I'm just gonna sit. I'm just gonna sit here by myself.
Just gonna sit this one out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna just wait for, if he is he the only way I'm gonna find this person is if they DoorDash me or something. I don't know, because I hate it out here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to happen in a way that is not going to require me to speak to men.
Yeah, I just want someone to see me and just be like, wow, I want to lavish her with everything she could possibly desire, and she doesn't have to do anything in return. I
Yeah.
want one of those.
Yeah. Where did those guys hang out?
Where did those guys hang out? I'm gonna go where they are.
I'm
But
guessing it's not Home Depot.
well, hey, you know what? Again, it's all relative, right? It's like a definition of ease and life and all that is all relative. So it's like, if your idea of finding someone is who's at Home Depot is your jam, then girl, eat
They're
that
there.
jam. They're
Yeah.
there.
Eat the jam.
Wherever, find it wherever you can. Because like I said, if you're already married and he's not abusing you, just stay there. Because
just stay.
either way, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game from like when I used to date. It's just
Yeah,
different. It's a different world now.
it is a very different world. I hate
Yeah.
online dating. It's terrible. I never, no, I hate it. I'd
Yeah,
rather
I
meet someone in
stopped that.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm being petty about. It's like, nope, I will not do any apps. They suck.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather meet the jerk in person.
Yeah.
And find out they're a jerk, 3 months later than
That's right.
than online. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so true. So, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome.
I have one last thing. I would love to ask you. A lot of women listening are, like we said, in this place of like having dreams, having desires, but they're at a place of life where they've had a lot of disappointment, maybe, or a lot of struggle, a lot of adversity, and they're just not believing in themselves. They're not feeling like, who am I to do this? Or I can't see the way. I think I hear that a lot. It's like, I just can't see how this is going to happen. Is there something that you want them to know that would give them a little glimmer of hope?
That's a really good question. I would say to them that, you would think I would say to them that, I don't even know. I want to say I would tell them to hang on, but I don't think that's even the best advice to give. I would think, like, if they're looking to do something, I honestly don't know. And
Yeah.
which is weird. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
I think it's like when you want to change your life, right? But you just can't see the path. And it's like, I don't know what the steps are.
So here's the thing about life, is that, if someone said, oh, I can sell you a blueprint, or the steps you should take for $50, you could buy it, and you would still take different steps than that person, because
Right.
everyone's life isn't the same, right? So if anything, what I would say is, we're in the age of social media. I would seek out people who are doing the things that you want to do, right? Because not through osmosis, but through osmosis, you're going to start to take on a lot of either mindset shifts or the energy, like you start to take that on. Like
Mm.
I get DMs all the time of, let's just say if I, while I was in Ghana, I was wearing a bikini and I would say, oh, the uncles called me juicy and da da da. I would get DMs from women that are like, you know what? I've been avoiding wearing that bikini. But because I saw how proud of you in your bikini, I'm going to wear a
Mm-hmm.
bikini too. But you can
Mm.
only get those sort of mindset shifts if you surround yourself with people, again, doing the things that you want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that that you're on the wrong path or you can't see the end. Is that you're looking at the wrong lights. You're expecting to see a flashlight when the lights are the stars, the lights are
Oh.
candles, the lights are the sun. Like there's
Mm.
different ways to shine. Is that you don't have to shine like everyone else. Mirrors shine,
Yeah.
glasses shine, but you just got to look for the shiny thing that you're attracted to and keep following that
Mm. I
and
love
follow
that.
your own path, because it may not even look like what you think it's going to look like. My life does not look like the way I thought it was going to look like.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yet here we
Same. Right?
are. Right.
Yeah. No,
So
I love
follow the
that so
light. Just
much.
find the light, but you've got to surround yourself with different kinds of lights sometimes, and then figure
Yeah.
out what lights, what lumens,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fancy word,
Yeah.
what lumens you want to shine at, right?
Well, I love that. And you're so right. Like environment
Mm-hmm.
wins. And so if your light, let's say you in the bikini, is inspiring or illuminating someone else to be like, I want that too, then instead of being in competition, we are inspiring each other.
If anything, you're a candle lighting other candles.
Yeah.
That's how I see myself, a candle that lights other candles,
Mm, yeah.
right?
And so look for the candles that light you up and
Yep,
just surround yourself, be in their world,
yep,
listen to the voices,
yep,
let
yep.
them teach you and guide you. I think that's brilliant advice because it's like if you can't see the path, just surround yourself with women or whoever who are doing their own shit and take what,
And here's the
what you
thing is
can.
that and you need to look outside your circle.
Mm-hmm.
They may not look like you, they may
Yeah,
not have the same background, the same experiences, but that's what makes it so beautiful and so wonderful, is
exactly.
that we're all on our own journey. It's just we all have a different way to get there. So sometimes you think, well, we all have the same car, how come I'm not going at the same speed as she is? Well, girl,
Mm-hmm.
go look at the girl that's walking in high heels. She's still gonna
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be slow, but she's still gonna get
I'm just gonna
there.
look good doing it.
She's gonna look good doing it, right? So yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for having me.
And take good care of your plants.
No, I still do. I still do. I still like them. Thanks for having
Awesome.
me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.